got your back.
They're kids, they're learning about stuff, right? Like, it's easy for them to just kind of like, oh yeah, I went from high school to now I'm over here, I'm a freshman, right? Even within the college community, right? Like, people can be transfer students. You can have international students. You can have people come from military. You have people that come from like, this side of the country. People that are like, born and raised in this town. All different kinds of people. Service members, I feel like, have like one of, if not the hardest or most challenging transition.
I have to agree with that because so the military trains you to become adaptable to war, to survive the more harsh situations, life or death, but doesn't train you to survive in a calm environment, right? In an environment where there is no danger, right? And it's almost like it's so I would say it's the training is so good, but also comes with its bad. That's why I always say there's always a loss and a win, and that's the loss in that win. You know how to if there was a war right now, you know how to get through it.
Right.
But if the war stopped, you become unadaptable to that. You become adaptable through the hardship of war, but unadaptable uh, in a stage because you're stuck with your trauma. Until you get unstuck with that trauma, you're able to start finding purpose in a unstructured lifestyle, right? So it's almost like how do you get it's not even about the tools because the Department of Defense, it's not like there's no money there. There's a lot of money in the Department of Defense. It's just the programs are not consistent, or it's not well structured to assist that military, that veteran that's coming out of the military. Because it's not only about money. It's about what is your support system? Who is there to greet you, right? And I think this is where also the Veterans Affair has to structure themselves even further. Some of our people that are in the military come from foster care. What are they going back to? Right? What are they going back to? They go back to nothing without a job. Because you got to remember, once you leave the military, you're unemployed.
Right.
You don't get a paycheck. You can't say, "Oh, I got rent for the next 6 months." No, it's like you're thrown. It's like mom got mad at you, threw you out of the house, and you're on your own. That's the reality of a veteran, and not every veteran, but I would say a very large quantity. I was among one of them. I had to find a construction job, and I was fortunate that these Italian guys were very patriotic that they allowed me to go to school as I was working there. They were like, "I'll pay you the full 8 hours. Don't worry. Leave at 1 o'clock."
Wow.
Yeah, but you see, how often do you find someone like that is gonna help you get through? Right? It's very slim the chances, right? So I think that's the biggest opportunity. A system that covers not only the financial aspect, because the finances are not there to help you unless you use your GI Bill and then they pay you for boarding and rooms and all these different things. But what happens is you're unemployed.
Is there any, like, you know how they condition you to get set for war and to be like a survival need for that, right? Do they condition you back for the civilian world? Like,
They have like
Like a month of like doing these little things. So it's what they call it. I forgot the name.
it's like it's another kind of transition, kind of a program, at least for like soldiers that, get sent out like, on deployment, for example,
it's like a checklist of
Yeah, like a checklist, like,
Yeah.
okay, did you complete this? Did you go to this? You know what I mean? Did you meet with the VA hospital? Did you like,
like
talk to
SOP,
this kind of
basically like an SOP rather than
Mhm.
on paper it looks good
Paper,
that you
yeah.
went through all these things, and it's a
Yeah.
good initiative, don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but it needs to be more prolonged, right?
think so.
Because for example, you could be fine without PTSD showing in the next year or two. It could show in 10 years. What do you do then? You know, when I got really bad PTSD, the insurance companies did not cover for mental health at that time. I went for a whole year without working, without collecting unemployment. Not only I was sick, but I didn't have any income coming, right? So imagine before me where there was less of that. There was no structure. Think about people from Vietnam. And this is why when I hear, you know, how corporations or people use the veteran insignia as a way of, you know, sailgating through I would say through propagandas. I'm like, if you really wanted to do something good for the military, right, or good for your veterans, why do veterans work on Veterans Day, right? These guys sacrifice their life for you not to do it. Second, what do you do for, you know, these individuals when they go into mental? Do you support them financially? And also, you know, in most cases they don't, right? I think last 2-3 years they started more with the mental health problem, right, supporting it. But think about veterans that don't come out with honorable discharge, right? I don't even like touching that subject. They get no benefit. They got nothing. Look, in my time when we came back from Iraq, I would say about 50-40% of soldiers in my battalion were doing drugs, Percocets. Why? Because they didn't know how to deal with all the trauma, right? And this is in the military. Now think about when they left. Some of them left with, you know, not honorable discharge. What did they get in return for serving their country, right? How does the VA only consider honorable people to have benefits? What is dishonorable to me is the fact that if these people sacrifice their time and their life and they happen to get on drugs because they didn't know how to deal with trauma, and at that time there was not a lot of studies about PTSD, right? But then the military condemned them to be not honorable, other than honorable discharge or whatever discharge they get, right? How did you take care? What are you doing today for those veterans? What are you doing today? Because those veterans were only 18, 20, 21 years old at that time. They didn't know any better. You can't expect them to think like a 40-year-old wise person. They're going to make dumb decisions. But when you needed them, they showed up for it. You know, I'm concerned about those veterans, the ones that don't have benefits, the ones that can't go to the VA hospital. Because if you do have an honorable discharge, you're treated like a king in the VA hospital. You go there and you were not honorable, you have to go through court system so they can approve. So it takes years and years and years in court for them to say, well, you can see yourself at the VA. So I do think there's a responsibility when it comes to veterans that don't reach that honorable. But again, who judges honorable? I went to a war where we were supposed to find weapons of mass destruction that never existed. Where's the honor to fight that war? There was none. So the judgment of honorable,
There's no compensation for kind of like the hardship.
exactly. I don't see George Bush, the military saying he sent dishonorably all the soldiers to fight a war that shouldn't, that supposedly was weapons of mass destruction. You know, I don't see him held accountable for it. Right? But again, a lot of soldiers did get held accountable for their actions, which is the right, perhaps it must be the right thing to do. But if you're going to do it for those soldiers, do it for the chief also as well, right? The one that's commanding as well.
Help us continue to embrace these human experiences and explore more about ourselves and others by just subscribing. You know, if you like our content, definitely like, comment, share it. But also, if you want to be part of our podcast, all you have to do is leave a comment and tell us what you want to talk about. Remember, this is the platform for the people, and we're here to explore those life experiences that are very unique to you and to everyone else. Don't forget to subscribe.